Most people think the biggest financial decision of their life is buying a house, or picking the right stock, or starting a business. It's not. The biggest financial decision you will ever make is who you marry, and almost nobody treats it that way. Let me tell you a story. Imagine you spend 12 years building a business from scratch. No investors, no shortcuts, just grind, discipline, and patience. Then one afternoon, you meet someone amazing. You fall in love. And within months, you sign a contract that gives them access to every dollar you've ever earned, grants them half ownership of everything you'll ever make, makes you legally responsible for their debts, and if things go wrong, allows the government to decide how your life savings get divided. No background check, no financial statements, no risk assessment. If you did this in business, your investors would fire you on the spot. But in real life, we call this romance. And millions of people sign this deal every year without reading the fine print. Today, we're going to talk about why marriage is the most powerful financial partnership you'll ever enter, why it can either multiply your wealth or erase decades of progress, and how to protect yourself without killing the romance. Because the truth is, your spouse matters more to your net worth than your career, your investments, or the stock market. Let's start with something nobody tells you. Legally speaking, marriage isn't a love story. It's a business merger. Two balance sheets become one. Two credit histories merge. Two spending habits collide. The government doesn't care about soulmates. It cares about taxes, property rights, liabilities, and debt responsibility. The moment you get married, you activate hundreds of financial rules that bind you to another person's decisions, even when you're asleep. Yet most couples spend more time researching phones than researching each other's finances. And that's dangerous, because money incompatibility doesn't usually explode. It leaks. Slowly. Silently. Let me show you what I mean. Imagine two people. Person A is a saver. They feel safe watching their investments grow. They enjoy delayed gratification. Person B isn't reckless. They just love comfort. Nice vacations. New cars. Daily takeout, good gifts, no drama, no gambling, no chaos, just spending. Now let's say person A could save $20,000 a year. Over 30 years at normal market returns, that's over $2 million. But after marrying person B, household savings drops to $5,000 a year because of lifestyle upgrades. Now run the same math. That future is closer to $500,000. Nothing dramatic happened. No divorce, no bankruptcy, no scandal, just different money values. That relationship didn't cost them thousands. It cost them $1.5 million in future freedom. This is what I call compounding friction. You're trying to climb. They're not pulling you down. They're just slowing you enough that you never reach escape velocity. And over time, the saver becomes the villain. No, we can't afford that. No, we shouldn't buy that. No, let's wait. Eventually, the saver gets tired of being the bad guy and gives up. Dreams shrink. Goals fade. Early retirement disappears. Not because of bad luck, but because alignment never existed. And as painful as that slow bleed is, it's still better than the sudden collapse. Which brings us to divorce. Let's talk numbers, not emotions. Roughly 40 to 50% of first marriages end in divorce. Higher for second and third marriages. That means marriage is statistically closer to a coin flip than a guarantee. Now imagine I offered you an investment with these odds. 50% chance to grow steadily for decades. 50% chance of instantly losing half your assets plus legal fees. No financial advisor on earth would touch that. But we bet our entire lives on it, without hedging. Here's what divorce actually does to wealth. Let's say a couple has $500,000 net worth. They split. Now each gets $250,000. But then come the transaction costs. Lawyers, court fees, asset liquidation, taxes, forced timing sales, moving expenses, duplicate housing costs. Suddenly that $250,000 becomes $180,000, or $150,000, or worse. Then factor in alimony or child support. Ongoing fixed payments that reduce future compounding for years or decades. I've seen people earning six figures living paycheck to paycheck because half their income is legally committed to their past relationship. They're producing wealth, but not keeping it. That's not failure. That's structural damage. And here's the part nobody wants to say. Love doesn't protect you from math. Now some people hear this and say, this is cynical. Marriage is about love, not money. I agree, marriage should be about love. But money stress is the #1 predictor of divorce, which means ignoring money doesn't protect romance. It kills it. Financial chaos is emotional poison. And ironically, the couples who treat marriage like a serious financial partnership before the wedding often end up with stronger emotional relationships afterward, because money stops being the battlefield. This brings us to something terrifying: financial infidelity. That's when one partner hides spending, debt, loans, or financial behavior from the other. Studies suggest around 40% of adults admit to some form of it, which means millions of people are legally tied to financial risks they don't even know exist. Your partner's credit score affects your mortgage. Their debt affects your assets. Their habits affect your future. You could wake up one day to find your finances wrecked by decisions you didn't make. That's not romance. That's blind exposure. So how do you reduce risk without killing the relationship? You do what smart businesses do. You run due diligence. Before hiring a CFO, you'd look at their history, their track record, their numbers. But before marrying someone who controls your future earnings, assets, and legal liabilities, most people just say, I trust them. Trust is essential, but trust without transparency is gambling. Here's what responsible love actually looks like. You sit down and open the books. Not judgment, not shame, just clarity. What's your credit score? What debts do you have? How do you use money when you're stressed? What does financial success look like to you? These aren't awkward questions. They're survival questions. Because you cannot outlove financial incompatibility. You can't discipline your way out of someone else's habits. You can't budget your way out of mismatched values. And you cannot fix someone who doesn't think anything is broken. Now let's talk about the most misunderstood financial tool in relationships. Most people think prenups are for rich people or people planning to divorce. That's wrong. A prenup is for people who understand risk management. You don't buy health insurance because you want to get sick. You buy it because life is unpredictable. Marriage is unpredictable. A prenup forces the hardest conversations while love is high and resentment is zero. It defines what's mine, what's ours, what happens if things break, how debt is handled, how income differences are treated. It protects both sides. It doesn't say, I don't trust you. It says, I respect both of us enough to remove uncertainty. And if someone refuses to even discuss one, that's not romance. That's avoidance. Now let's flip the story, because marriage, when done right, isn't dangerous. It's the strongest wealth engine in existence. 2 aligned people, shared goals, 1 lifestyle, 2 incomes, double tax advantages, built-in accountability, shared risk, a financially aligned couple living below their means and investing consistently can outpace almost any solo earner. Marriage done right isn't risky. Marriage done blindly is. But there's one more layer nobody talks about, and it's critical: the stay-at-home spouse. If one partner steps out of the workforce to raise kids or manage the household, they are making a massive economic sacrifice. Lost income, lost career growth, lost retirement contributions. That contribution absolutely benefits the household, but it creates vulnerability for the person making it. That's why alimony exists. That's why spousal IRAs matter. That's why household labor must be treated as real labor, because it is. Marriage isn't just romance. It's operations. It's labor division. It's risk sharing. And ignoring that doesn't make it disappear. It just makes it unfair. Here's the truth nobody teaches in school. Choosing a spouse is an asset allocation decision. You're allocating your time, your energy, your emotional bandwidth, your future income, your compounding years. So don't pick a volatile asset. Don't pick a meme stock. Don't pick potential. Pick consistency. Pick stability. Pick alignment. Pick someone who multiplies your effort instead of diluting it. You don't need someone who makes you feel rich. You need someone who helps you become free. So here's the practical playbook. If you're single, make financial literacy a non-negotiable, right next to kindness and emotional maturity. If you're dating, stop avoiding money conversations. Ask, what does success look like to you? What scares you about money? How do you handle stress spending? Listen carefully. If you're already married and dealing with mismatched habits, don't ignore it. Separate accounts if needed. Automate savings before money becomes emotional. Build guardrails. Because hope is not a financial strategy. Marriage is a high-stakes partnership. The upside is massive. The downside is catastrophic. So treat it with respect. Do the due diligence. Read the contract. Choose your co-founder wisely. Because heartbreak heals, but a destroyed retirement timeline lasts decades. If this video made you rethink a conversation you've been avoiding, send it to your partner, not as criticism, but as future planning. And I'll see you in the next one.